Hello and welcome to another episode of The Third Perspective. I'm your host, Rob, a conservative libertarian, and tonight I have with me Byron, who's gonna take the reins.
Yes, this will be my first time taking the reins. I am the liberal libertarian, and I kind of wanted to go and revise that just a little bit. The first time that was brought up was basically the pilot show, and
My fault.
and well, like the only example I could come up with at the time was like abortion, where it's just like, okay, I'm for abortion as opposed to the conservatives who are against it. But I suppose to some degree, the other thing would be a recognition of what is necessary in government, as where I would imagine to some degree the conservative libertarians would prefer closer to anarchy, I would imagine.
Well, some liberal libertarians prefer closer to anarchy too. I mean, we don't have a monopoly on that side of the reins. A lot
True.
of conservative libertarians are actually minarchists who think that there has to be some sort of establishment, just not very much of it.
Ah, okay. Well
Like
then,
Ron Paul, a conservative libertarian who believes there has to be some small form of government.
I guess this is more reestablishing my views than the definition then, because I'm in that.
Over definitions, but that was kind of an arbitrary term I kind of pulled together to help people understand where we're coming from.
Yeah, because like my point of view, I kind of tend to agree with Ron Paul in that sense of we do need. I feel we do need some government, but very, very, very small and very limited.
Actually, I'm becoming more and more the type of person that you used to be in being vehemently opposed to government, but if
Well,
government is going to exist, it probably should exist for the purposes of defense, as in defending the nation, and civil courts.
that's pretty much how I see it. It's like its main purpose is for, the macro level defense. So I I don't know. That's pretty much where my standpoint on it is, because I find, from my point of view, I try to stay as realistic with it as possible. And the reality of it, from my point of view, is that without government, as many people as we have in the nation, and as many random and how widespread the range of thoughts are in this nation, as well as how people act on them, is a bit too wide to not have government at the moment. Like, if we had less people and the range of thoughts wasn't so radical from side to side, I think you probably could get away with no government at all. The people would be able to just, individuals along with them as a group would probably be able to manage themselves on their own without much issue.
So, what specifically are you saying you want government for?
My main thing would just be like the federal government. I don't want it to be anything other than just macro level protection and not this invasion of privacy stuff that we have right now, which not ready to segue yet. And for the most part, maybe like state government, something small. Like, I'm more for the individualist, but I still recognize, like, you still may have to have a law that says murder is illegal, something like that.
Well, everything is still dealt with after the fact. I mean, once we realize that it's not the laws keeping people in line, it's actually what happens after that we deal with it instead of thinking that we're preventing something from happening.
That's true, but at the same time, like, the punishments, I guess it also depends on your view of punishments, because laws also deal with that as well, where it won't be like, oh, you killed my sister, so I'm going to kill you and your sister, or something like that, or I'm not going to kill you, I'm just going to kill your sister who has nothing to do with it.
Well,
So,
usually that comes about in similar government style things that pop up. I mean, like gangs. I mean, this idea that I'm going to get back at you at in any way, shape,
cost.
or form. I mean, that really doesn't. I don't generally see that when you look at individuals. When individuals have problems with other individuals, they tend to work it out with the other individual, not with their families. It's when you
That's
have the major groups that you just all get viewed as you're all together.
true. But who was it that said eye for an eye makes the whole world blind?
I do not remember.
I
It is a
remember.
pretty good thing, though. I mean, it's part of the reason why I don't necessarily approve of the death penalty. Weird, conservative guy doesn't approve of the death penalty. I know.
Weird, the apparently liberal guy approves of the death penalty. Are you sure we're not switching roles here?
I don't know. I wonder from time to time. I mean, you used to be the crazy anarchistic guy, and I was the statist. I really was.
Because now it's just kind of like, no, it's not to say I don't want anarchy, because if we could do that, I'd be very, very happy. But I just don't see it being practical in the real world as it is right now.
I understand. I mean, I do know where you're coming from. I just don't think that government is what's keeping us in line.
I don't think government is what's keeping us in line. I don't think religion is what's keeping us in line. My issue is
Well, I think simple morals, even if you look at religious people, it's the fact that they have morals that keeps them in line, not necessarily their religion. And I
yeah,
am a Christian.
yeah. But the thing is, like, it's not so much the I'm afraid the people are going to go crazy or something, because I'm pretty sure the people can manage themselves. It's the how people will react to a stimulus, I suppose, that will be my issue. Like, to what degree does it take before, say, mob mentality kicks in or something like that?
We have mob mentality kicking in with government as a whole.
Yeah. But the thing is like, something tells me my point is getting lost here, because I'm having a hard time keeping track of it now.
Well, I understand where you're going, but I'm arguing the typical, like, my style perspective. I mean, I get that you want something to help keep people in line, but from my perspective, it really isn't. And it's not fair for you to argue me, because we talk about this all the time.
This is true. And it's like, well, no, because ideally the people would just be smart enough, intelligent enough, and responsible enough that, you wouldn't have to worry about it. But sucks to say it, they're not really. Not right now. I mean, the majority of them are, but you also have to take into account that, say it's just a small percentage, well, you start getting into, 100 million people, a billion people, several billion, that small percentage still counts for a lot.
See, where I can agree with you and see some need for government would be to deal with the violent offenders, people who are violent by nature. I mean, if you're going out there and harming other people, you're raping, you're killing, things like that. I mean, dealing with those people, that's about all I can see government doing.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I'm still torn between, like, yeah, I guess you could say that. I could see that more of like the state government, though.
That's the way we're designed. That's the way it's supposed to be. Laws are supposed to be set up on a state municipality level, and the federal government has very few things that it can regulate. Now, like a murder that happens in one state and the person flees to another state, that's where the federal government might step in and say, hey, this person needs to go back to that state because they committed a violent crime. But
Which
other than that,
which makes complete sense, honestly. But anyway, I just wanted to get that, like, little tidbit in there.
I get that you want to establish yourself without like just going off of labels because you feel you're kind of stuck in a box, which is, I gave myself kind of that box myself when I said conservative libertarian, and then I go, I don't agree with the death penalty. I mean, I don't even fit in my own box.
No, not really, man. Not really. But I don't know. I was mentioning like privacy, and I guess now we can segue into that. Of
The
the issue,
United Police States of America.
yes, the United Police States of America, with all its invasions to privacy and our Bill of Rights being trampled all over the place. I mean, where should we start? Let's start with what? Drones that are slowly creeping in?
Hundreds of thousands of drones that are coming back from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan are going to be used here stateside. It's a kind of scary thing and reminds me of George Orwell's 1984.
Which I still need to go through. But,
Take the time to watch the movie or read the book.
yeah, seriously.
It is not a set of rules for government to do. It was supposed to be a warning.
I don't think they got the memo. I really don't. But I mean, it's like, okay, we have the drones that are coming back from the wars, and those aren't the only ones. I mean, you can go online and just dig up, we have the MQ-1 Predator and the FQ-9 Reaper. Those are our two main drones, and then
I don't actually think that we're going to end up with those drones.
those drones specifically, no. The ones that I've been seeing are the ones that police forces tend to use, which are basically,
Surveillance.
Yeah,
That 1984 style thing where they're going to be watching everything you do.
Well, it's not just that. Like the drones they have are basically like you've seen those little helicopters, RC helicopters that have four rotors that like a flat plane to mount a camera on the bottom of. Yeah, it's basically one of those
Black
things.
Ops for me, but yeah.
It reminds you of what?
Black Ops.
The game?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember that part in Black Ops, but
I
the point
never
being is
played
like
it, so I might be wrong.
the point being though is like that's mainly the kind of thing they're planning on using, as opposed to say our actual military grade drones.
It's not hard to take these drones to mount military style weapons on. I mean, some of our surveillance platforms already have weapons on them.
That's true. But for the time being, I mean, these are basically little RC things. I'm not entirely sure they'd actually have the capacity in their current configurations to carry something that heavy. But it wouldn't take much to change the configuration and build something that can.
Yeah, and that's really, like, even if we don't even talk about the military capabilities and deadly capabilities that you could have from these drones, just the sheer invasion of privacy that you have. I mean, if I saw a drone flying around my neighborhood, I would feel compelled to shoot it down.
I would too, actually.
Just these invasions of privacy in this police state that continues to grow and grow and grow. And it seems like nobody, well, I know people within our circles are questioning, but it seems like at a major government level, no one seems to think beyond like Rand Paul and other few libertarian leaning individuals that this is even bad.
Yeah, and I don't understand that because you have no right to privacy at all. And it's not just the drones. I mean, you look at what is it, the TSA that's at our airports?
Oh, we could go all day on the TSA. I mean, the 3-year-old little girl that's wheelchair bound that they had to completely check her and touch every part of her body to make sure she didn't have a bomb. I mean, are you kidding me?
Well, there was even that politician's daughter a few months ago.
Yeah, and it took that happening to his daughter for him to wake up to what's going on. This is a person who's supposed to be paying attention to this.
And he's not.
Yeah, but that's true of all of it. All politicians. Unless it's in their face, they feel that they're above. I mean, they just think that they're somewhere up here, and we're down at the bottom, and we have to obey their laws, but they're okay.
But the interesting thing is, wouldn't you say to some degree that it feels like the people of the U.S. are that way too? It feels like, oh, well, you should have to submit to these laws, but I don't think I should.
I think we have this mentality in this country that, we're American and no one else is American, so our rules and our laws that protect us don't pertain to anyone else. And I think that's a little bit of a shaky ground. But we also have this mentality, even from American to American, that somehow it wasn't me and it's not happening to me, so they had to have done something to bring it upon themselves. Like Anwar al-Awlaki in, I believe it was Yemen, he was killed by a drone through presidential executive order, and people within the states are like, well, he must have done something wrong, and not another thought is placed on it. It seems like, well, if it's not happening to me, I don't care. But that's that sort of slippery slope that leads to your government is able to do things to you because you never spoke out when it was doing it to someone else.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's like they're only concerned with themselves and they're not concerned with the whole. I mean, like, I myself, for example, any right of freedom that I want, I expect it to be given to everyone else equally. So I want the right to bear arms, for the most part unrestricted, because practically most people aren't going to carry anything bigger than an AR.
And when you give them the opportunity to protect themselves, that right there does more than having police in every home and watching our every move ever will. Because now that would-be criminal has to worry and has to wonder if their victim has perhaps a way to defend themselves.
As well, you're not relying on someone else for your safety, you're trusting entirely yourself.
Yeah, that's the scary part, is when people start to rely only upon government. Oh, just call the police. They'll come and save you. Well, when seconds count, the police are minutes away. I don't want to place my full faith and confidence in a police force that's minutes away.
Not to mention, it's like, what was it? The whole rape thing where they said, oh, you're supposed to, like, urinate and puke on yourself, something like that. To deter a rapist. And
that was a Colorado politician. I don't remember his name. And he pretty much said, if you want to deter a rapist, you should pee on them or puke on them. And
that's not going to deter a rapist. That's about power.
They're already sick enough as it is. Why do you think that that's going to stop them?
That might encourage them.
If you've used the internet, you know there are people out there who like that stuff.
Yes, there are. And it's a little creepy. Well, that's just my opinion. I'm not going to, complain about it.
Well, we don't have to delve too deep into people's fetishes.
Right. But my point is, it's just like, okay, you can puke and pee on someone, which doesn't really do anything. You can try a taser, but some people are actually strong enough to resist it, especially if they're high on something.
Oh, God.
Pepper spray has less effect than a taser for a lot of people. And yeah, I'd say the best thing you could do is like pull out a Smith & Wesson 40 and take aim.
Mm-hmm.
Because this person is going to violate you, and then there's a good chance they might try and kill you afterwards. And if you're not armed, probably succeed.
Yeah, it's...
So, it's the great equalizer, as they like to call it.
That's the best part, is it doesn't matter how strong you are, and if the other person is stronger, that gun will equalize it. It will put you on a level playing field. And there have been many cases where an armed gunman has simply seen another gun and ended it, whether it be by shooting themselves or leaving. but once they see someone who could, in effect, stop what's going on, it tends to make them stop.
I mean, I remember seeing videos of a robber coming in to a liquor store with, I think, it was something small, looked like a Makarov type weapon, and like a little small, I don't know, 22 caliber Makarov, something like that. And the guy behind the counter pulled out a 44. The dude left.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of like, okay, I have the bigger gun type thing, but it's enough that, well, I'm not going to try and take on prey that can defend itself. It's the equal of being out in the wild. Like, even take a lion, for example. They're not going to go head to head with something like, say, a hippo that is fully capable of protecting itself. So, why deny the people the right to protect themselves? As well as, if you pay attention to this, the government, we have a shortage of ammunition. And the cause of that is the government buying just millions and millions and millions of
Department of Homeland Security, which I don't know why it needs to stockpile rounds, but it is stockpiling rounds.
It is. It's stockpiling rounds. A lot of them hollow point, which I don't really see the need for that. I mean, what is their use outside of air marshals? I don't really see the point of it.
No, I really don't see the purpose.
And then
it's all about control. It isn't about guns and ammunition. It's about control. Your government wants to control you and what you do.
And as soon as you do something they don't like, they come knocking at your door. Without a warrant at that. Which is brilliant.
Oh, we could talk about no-knock raids. We can talk about puppy side, too.
Puppy side?
In these no-knock raids, when they come in, they kick the door down, and they've killed innocent people because they've been at the wrong address. They also kill the dog. If they see a dog, they kill the dog. I've seen footage of dogs that were tied up and of no threat to officers, and the officers killed the dog. And oh man, I forget the name of the guy now, but he's in one of the Liberty organizations, and I think he's with Cato, actually, the Cato Institute, and he said the one thing that always seems to get to people about these raids is the puppy side. It's the kill the dog. No matter if the dog is a threat or not, they kill the dog.
Why?
Yeah, I can't tell you. It's ridiculous, and nobody does anything. They don't reprimand the cop because the cop's doing his job. This is what he's supposed to do. This is part of the reason why I have so much problem with our police forces. It's okay for a cop to kill a dog.
That is defenseless?
Yeah, somehow it's magically okay. Even if they come in and they kick down the wrong door, somehow it's okay.
Now they don't have any... did anyone... Let me see if I can find it here. I don't remember if anyone ever got in trouble after those two shootings in the Michael Dorn case.
Oh, I lost track of it. I need to do some research again. But the only thing that I heard that the cops were doing were they were replacing their truck.
That's it.
That's all I heard they were doing. They had shot up their car. Oh, we're going to replace it. I'm sorry that they're in the hospital because you shot them and all you're going to do is give them a new truck?
That's all bad. That
yep.
stinks. And, I can't say, okay, this stuff happens every day, but if you really pay attention to it, it feels like it's starting to occur more and more and more.
Yeah, well, we're militarizing our police force. And one of the biggest things is the war on drugs. It's so important for us to track down these, what's usually nonviolent guys who are growing pot in their houses. People who you would think if somebody kicked down their door, they would have every right to defend themselves. But because it's cops, it's okay.
And see, I especially don't understand the whole pot thing because to me, that's like a victimless crime.
It is. I mean, That's all it is. It's a crime that affects no one else. And most drugs, for that matter, is people who have no effect on anyone else's lives, but they're using these drugs. Now, don't get me wrong. I think drugs are horrible. I think most drugs should never even be touched because they're not natural. But the idea of violently bringing in someone who hasn't done anything violent, that's nonsense to me. And then putting them in a cage. They're in a cage for not having affected anyone else's life. It's ridiculous.
That is. And the worst part is, in a way, that kind of ties back to the whole drone thing, because now they're saying, oh, well, we want to use drones to detect, drugs and that kind of thing, by going by the heat signatures of the house, which...
Oh, that's going to be interesting. I guarantee you most of these drones are going to have heat signatures and other IR things on them so they can see what's going on in these houses.
But the thing is like, there's more than just, what if we cooking? Like, even my parents, my mom, when she cooks, the kitchen gets hot. Like, if she's cooking for a long time, big meal, the kitchen gets hot and humid. And it feels like an oven in there, like you're in a sauna. Excuse me.
I would presume that the defense for what you're saying would be that the cops would watch this and they wouldn't just react and just go for it. But at the same time, I don't believe that myself.
No,
there's too many trigger happy cops for me to believe that.
My point being is, like, things in your house, different things can cause the temperature to shift in your house or become higher in one specific location. So now you're going to have what? People cooking big meals, all of a sudden the cops come, knock the door down because, oh, you growing drugs, they don't find any drugs, and then what? They just going to walk off? Okay, we'll replace your door. Oh, that's great, but now I have no trust in the police and I'm terrified.
Yeah. I just watched a music video with this Canadian singer-songwriter that Arisen TV put out that showed a lot of these no-knock raids and the killing of dogs. And one of the things in the video is this family who do a public address after a wrong address raid. It just makes me sick, and nothing happens to these cops after making a mistake of that magnitude.
It's just like, not all cops are bad or evil or something, but there seems to be this growing force of it's okay to be excessive. We're the good guys, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And that behavior shouldn't really be tolerated. I mean, whatever happened to needing a warrant? Whatever happened to having probable cause?
Well,
I don't think a heat signature is probable cause because heat signatures can be amplified and quelled by just about anything.
Well, in response to that, I mean, most of these raids, these no-knock raids, do have warrants. I'm not trying to say that they're going outside the justice system and doing their own brand of justice. I'm just saying that I think no-knock raids are ridiculous.
Well, for the cops...
But then again, look at the Patriot Act. Federal agents don't have to get a warrant anymore.
And that's what I was about to say. It's like, okay, for the cops, yeah, maybe they don't have to get a warrant. But what about feds? Where, they are completely free to just either not have a warrant or sign their own warrant. They don't even need a judge's signature.
Well, that's the thing. That with the Patriot Act, they can write their own warrant. And then if you talk about it, that's a federal offense under the Patriot Act.
And now we're starting to sound like China.
Yep, that's exactly what we sound like.
I remember reading, and I'll have to pull up the article again, about a former soldier, who was arrested in Washington, D.C. because someone reported him having a firearm, and they did a no-knock raid on him and arrested and detained him for a while, even though all his equipment was legal.
Everything was registered. I remember now.
Yeah, and it's just like...
And they didn't even apologize.
No, they didn't.
They felt it was in the best interest of the neighborhood to go in and bust down this guy's door, detain him, and check to see if everything was good. It's like, really?
It's like whatever happened to the days of, like, you actually do knock. Oh, hey, it's the police.
When people actually had respect for police because police had respect for them.
This is true. They did. And now the police abuse their power, and it's just like, well, why should I listen to you? You're just going to take it anyway. So it's just all bad. That's and the worst part is now it's not even just things like that. Now it's like you say something online, your First Amendment right to freedom of speech, and now all of a sudden, oh well, you said something that could be bad, and now we're gonna bust you for terrorism or something like that. I mean, there was that girl in Turlock. Didn't she say something about the president should be assassinated?
Yeah.
Thing. Now,
actually, that I don't think that was ever actually investigated, but it was brought to the attention of the Secret Service. The Secret Service kind of wrote it off. That's what I got out of the article.
But they did detain her.
No, they didn't. They did not detain her. They didn't do anything. The Secret Service wasn't here.
Well, I remember her getting arrested for...
That might have been some over-antsy cops in Turlock.
Okay.
But the Secret Service was never here. The Secret Service never took the time to really investigate it.
Okay, because that was the main reason why it had gotten published, was she had gotten arrested.
I thought it was because she got fired.
No, I remember right. She got fired because she got arrested.
Oh, I didn't...
Which most businesses tend to do anyway.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, it depends what happens. But something like that I can understand. I mean, if you're saying, somebody should assassinate, I can understand why some employers would be a little antsy about that. I mean, that doesn't look good to the business.
That's true. And from the perspective of the employer and the free market, the employer has every right to terminate that person's employment because of that.
Yeah, and that's I listen to people discuss this and from time to time, and we have a friend who loves to put her opinion out there about this. But if a business looks bad because of statements that you're making publicly, they have every right to get rid of you because you are a liability to that company. If you are affecting their ability to make a profit, you're a liability. They shouldn't have to keep you.
No, they shouldn't. It was like this whole... I don't understand the whole VFX thing completely yet, so I won't quite touch that. Despite the fact that I should know it since I'm in 3D modeling and kind of going into the same industry.
Yes, maybe you should join a union.
No, I'm not joining. Forget that. I mean, here's a question. So I'm supposed to pay someone to tell me to bail out of work and stand outside and picket, or better yet, stay home while they use the funds that I'm paying them to hire other random people to stand outside and picket.
Even if you don't agree with what they're picketing for. I mean,
no.
They have a choice. You have to follow what they say. But don't get me wrong, some people do stay at work, but it's kind of like that you get treated the way people who owe money to the mafia get treated. I mean, it's just not respectful, the treatment of people who go against what the union wants.
It's silly. And completely unnecessary. And the worst part is just
And you, as an individual, should never be trying to go the extra mile to get more. You should be doing what everyone else is doing. That's my problem with the union. If I'm a harder worker than you, I deserve to make more money than you. Period.
Agreed. Fully. That's part of what I don't understand. And the worst part is not just... I don't understand how this is working that... Okay, we're going to have everyone stop working, so you're not getting paid, at least not that I'm aware of, and then you're expecting to get paid more. Someone want to remind me of the logic in this?
Well, you got the guy who works for the union, the union boss, who gets paid out of union dues. Basically, make sure that people are making enough, and then tell you when you need to go on strike. Because you're not smart enough to do that on your own. You're not smart enough to get together with your fellow compadres. You need someone else to do that for you.
That's what I don't understand. It's like, who are you to tell me what is good enough pay? Hey, I'm making $30 an hour. I don't know, tuning cars or something.
$30 an hour. Whoa, I want to make that.
So would I. And then I'm paying these union dues, which I don't really want to be paying. And then you're going to tell me you should stop working because they're not paying you well enough. Dude, I'm making $30 an hour. I'm going to keep working.
Well, what I find interesting is that the prison guards union here in California didn't really fund anything except the education Prop 30. This last cycle, Prop 30 was to add taxes to fund the education system, which I could go all day about the smoke and mirrors thing that Jerry Brown pulled on this state, but they recently had polled their members, and they decided, like, for the most part, their union thought they made too much money. But do you see them fighting to get their wages lowered? Who would do that?
But I don't know. I don't understand that. And it's just like, I understand certain labor laws. I really do. Like, you know, say not forcing you to work 7 days straight for, 8 to 10 hours, 12 hours, something like that.
Well, honestly, who's forcing you?
That's true, but, I don't.
If a company is trying to force you to do something you don't want to do, the thing is, you are still in a voluntary arrangement with them. If they aren't treating you properly, which, if they're trying to make you work 7 days a week, not giving you anything extra, I would probably want to go work somewhere else. But if I so choose to work 7 days a week, why does the government have to step in over that?
If you so choose to?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
See, that's the thing about government. Government pretends it's protecting you, but it's protecting you from yourself, so you can't possibly make a choice on your own.
That's true, actually. I mean, it's not true that you can't make a choice on your own. I'm talking about the government, playing Two-Face.
Mm-hmm.
That almost came out wrong. But they do keep doing that, and why is it that we can't be allowed to make our own decisions? And better yet, this gets me onto something else, actually, which is Rob and I know this guy. You're more familiar with him than I am. Who?
You're talking about the army buddy.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about. And it's just like, okay, all these rules are meant to be followed. Well, what happens when you have dumb laws? And why is it that everyone is afraid of freedom? And better yet, if you're afraid of freedom, why do you have to limit it for someone else?
Yeah, why do we have to control everyone else? I mean, if you don't want to live in a free society yourself, why are you trying to force someone else to live within what you view as your rules?
That is my biggest issue, because basically it's like, okay, maybe I want to own a gun. I have the right in the Second Amendment. I'm not going to come raid your house. And I'm not forcing you to own a gun either. You don't like guns, stay away from them. I'm not.
Yeah, why can't somebody who's legally authorized to conceal carry off of a college campus, why can't they be allowed to conceal carry on a college campus? Why is that such a bad thing? They can conceal carry everywhere else, but they can't carry on a college campus. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Well, better question isn't just that. It's more of, if they're concealed carrying, how are you going to know?
Well, yeah.
That person could still bring the gun anyway. They're not going to kill anyone. They're not going to shoot anyone.
This is why you should watch Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. There's a part in there. Well, that's victimlesscrimespree.com. You can check that out. There's a part in there where two former, I want to say police officers, who were legally authorized to carry guns, conceal carry guns, were having a concealed carry protest outside of this New Hampshire college where they were basically saying, why am I not allowed to carry here when I can carry everywhere else? And there was somebody there who said, thank you for not carrying a gun today. And he's like, as far as you know. So the whole point is you don't know.
That is the point. And that's my thing. It's like, someone may conceal carry onto a campus. Say I conceal carry, and I don't have the money to own a gun, so don't come after me. I'm broke. I'm a college kid. Anyway, point being, say I have a gun. Say I have, I don't know, an M1911 or something I conceal carry. Well, the only way I'm going to get...
45 millimeter handgun.
45 millimeter or 45 ACP?
ACP, I'm sorry.
Anyway, the point being, before we go to gun fanatic here, is, I'd carry the gun with me everywhere, say. Now, the only way I'd get in trouble is, A, if I'm flashing it around doing something stupid, or if someone actually comes in and attacks, and I take action and bring that person down. The worst part is like...
You're in trouble because you brought a gun on as well.
Yes, even though if I wasn't there, then, how many other people would have died before the cop showed up?
Mm-hmm.
And then even if the cop showed up, who's to say they actually had the means of... Well, okay, I'm 1911, so that's pointless. Anyway. But it's like, okay, so I'm doing something good by doing something bad, and even so, it's still recognized as only being bad, and therefore you must be punished. Kind of like, can I just walk away from this? I don't need to be praised or anything. Just, let me go.
Yeah, stop treating the people who aren't criminals like criminals. We have a new mindset in this country that if you own a gun, you're somehow bad.
If you own a gun that looks assaultish, it looks military.
You shouldn't have that. Why would you have that? You don't need to own that.
I have an old Winchester with like a pistol grip and a collapsible stock. It's military. Dude, it only holds like, 2 shells.
Have you seen the lists that Dianne Feinstein's banned weapon? The one she's attempting to ban?
No, but the way I understand it with Dianne Feinstein is basically everything's going to be based on clips. It seems to be the way she wants it to be. Where it's literally a
Hold up now. A clip is actually what the ammunition comes on.
Yes.
That's the clip.
That's what I mean. Everything would be based on clips. Like the old M1 Garand where you top load it with a clip into the mag.
It's ridiculous.
The way she's making everything sounds is like that. It can't hold more than 10 rounds. It cannot have a detachable mag. So how else are you going to load it other than something like a top loader or a clip?
Well, the problem with all of this legislation is, yes, it sounds great. We're going to keep these military-grade weapons out of the hands of criminals. Ultimately, it's not going to work. But the reason why we have the Second Amendment, as we've discussed before, is to protect against a tyrannical government. A government that comes in and dictates your lives. Sound familiar? I mean, the fact that we're trying to take away people's rights to protect themselves should give you a pretty good idea of what kind of government we're living under.
It should. I mean, it's pretty straightforward as being tyrannical.
fascist.
Yeah, you could say that. We're working our way over there. So, but it's silly that it's like this massive mind job on everyone, basically. That over the years, oh, you are carrying a firearm, demonize you. I mean, LA is, I don't remember if they were trying to or if they actually got it passed where basically everything weapon related could be criminal, even like an airsoft gun or a water pistol. That
I don't think that ever passed.
I remember, okay, because I remember being suggested. I just never found out if it passed or not.
Well, look at Chicago. I mean, how many. They have gun control there to ridiculous levels. Does it save lives? It doesn't.
That's the thing, is like, I don't understand. It's not. It's not the guns and the. For some reason, our politicians and everyone that follows them doesn't seem to understand this. It's not the guns that are the issue. It's the people behind the guns.
Well, when you have politicians like Dianne Feinstein, who thinks that once everyone else is disarmed, the criminals will lay down their arms because that's just human nature, there's your problem. She said that. I'm not making that up. She said
you
that.
Actually dug it up and she actually said it?
Yeah.
That is sad. I mean, that's not human nature. That's if someone is attacking something, if that thing disarms, there's no guarantee that you're going to just put down your weapons and stop. I mean, what's to stop you from keep on going until everything is laid down? Which made me lose my original point.
We can bring this back to the United Police States of America.
Yes, the United Police States of America that don't want you to be armed, that don't want you to have freedom of speech, they don't want you to have privacy, they want you to be completely open. Which, in a way, if you really think about it, well, I just really think about it, look in a history book. You have Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, no. You can't start off on Lincoln. Lincoln, by far, was one of our most tyrannical presidents, yet he's rated up there as one of the best. It's sickening.
Well, because I'm not just jumping on, like, presidents. It's like, we have Lincoln, and then who is violating just about everything under the Constitution. And then you have Salem. And they were doing basically the exact same thing. Of course, Salem was before the Constitution. But the point, for the most part, stays the same, which is, to some degree, they expect everyone to be open. Everyone knows everything about each other. And if someone acts different, they're a witch, burn them at the stake. Or lynch them.
I think we have more in the way of lynch mobs.
In Salem, yeah. There's a lot more in the way of lynch mobs there. But the point stays the same, though, which is basically, we've basically turned the Constitution and the Bill of Rights into a witch hunt of anyone who still stands by this is bad or evil. Government, come take my rights away. I want you to, invade me, have a microscope up my rear end so that way you can see every little thing I'm doing, and I'm going to be completely defenseless willingly for it, while the few of them that aren't doing it, we have a decent following, although the libertarians could be more open. But for the most part, they're being demonized by, well, the average person doesn't care about their constitutional rights.
Joe Biden.
So, precisely my point is...
Or Al Sharpton. People don't have the right to unregulated rights in this country. What?
What?
Al Sharpton. People listen to that nut job.
Al Sharpton. Let me pull up a picture of this dude and see what he looks like.
This dude, he's had some major trainloads of crap, but people still listen to him.
Al Sharpton. He a nigga. Have to edit that out.
No, I'm going to leave it. You're black. You can say that.
That is
politically correctness. I can't say it, but you can.
Man, I don't care about political correctness. I thought I made that clear already.
Well, we can discuss that one too. I mean, we think that political correctness saves people from the evil racists of the world, but it just really it's
How does that
stupid.
save you from anyone? It causes more chaos because you can't express what you actually mean.
Well, look at speech codes on college campuses that say that you can't say this, you can't say that. Like UNC says you can't implicitly or explicitly ask for sex. How do you get there? How do you have sex if you can't ask in any way, shape, or form? Speech codes are stupid.
It's simple.
And they're violations of our First Amendment rights in a public institution.
They expect you to go off campus, ask for it, and then come back on. Or
no, you're still like, if you're talking to someone who goes to that school, you still fall under it.
How does that work? That's they're overreaching.
Fire.org, Foundation for Individual Rights and Education. You can look up mostly public schools, but there are some private schools in there, and they argue cases for them all the time. But there isn't a campus that truly has a free speech code. There is something you're not allowed to say. And in many cases, they have what's called free speech zones, where you have to go to that zone to speak freely.
This made me want to shoot somebody.
Don't say that. I mean, we actually have a free speech zone here in Modesto.
We have a free speech zone here in Modesto?
At the bus station, there's a box at this bus station that's painted on the ground, and that's where you're supposed to go at the bus station to exercise your First Amendment rights.
So what? People can throw stuff at you? What if you've been in theater? You can project.
It's ridiculous, but this was done because there's this guy who's apparently a little pushy. I think it had something to do with religious beliefs. He was pushy about his religious beliefs, and he was getting in people's faces. Well, there is a way to deal with that. That's what we have a police force to do, is to deal with people who do stuff like that. What we don't do is limit everyone for the actions of an individual. You don't go, oh, this person was terrible, so you can only freely speak in this box. But that's what free speech zones are. A limitation on your freedom of speech.
Oh, my God. Oh, wait, I don't believe in God. Anyway, point being, our speech is, now it's the First Amendment. First, Second Amendment is just being trampled on everywhere.
Well, I love that picture that I post from time to time that shows how all 10 of the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, are trampled on. Your rights are being trampled on every day. There is a law on the books that says you cannot protest anywhere where someone is being protected by Secret Service. That is a federal law. It's a felony to protest anywhere where someone is being protected by Secret Service.
So I cannot protest outside the White House?
Nope, you can't do it. It's illegal under federal law.
What are they afraid of?
It silences people. What's the best place to protest? Where are you going to get your message out? Where are you going to get politicians to truly hear what you're saying?
This is true.
So instead, we hide the fact that people have a problem, we pretend there are no problems, and we throw people in jail that aren't harming a soul.
It's because somehow the definition of harm has changed to physical harm, or now it's become, well, I'm being emotionally harmed and therefore I'm being mentally scarred, or something along the lines of that, which makes no sense whatsoever. You have to hear something? Not really. You can turn and walk away.
See, I love that, because I think all laws to do with speech need to go away. I think the FCC is a load of crap, and we got to prevent people from swearing on the air. You don't like it, don't listen to it.
Originally, I found out the FCC was established to keep, I guess, because they didn't trust people to parent their own children back in the 50s. So
still don't trust parents to parent their own children. We're trying to get what we deem as bad food and unhealthy food out of schools.
It's sad. It's kind of pathetic, actually. Mm-hmm. But I guess they established that so that way, parents wouldn't have to worry as much about what their children were seeing on TV or something like that, because there were only a few channels up at a time. It's just kind of like, why? If you don't want your kid to see something, then
pay attention to what your kids are doing.
Yeah, be a parent.
Yeah, that seems like a foreign concept these days. People would rather blame government and make government fix problems rather than pay attention to what their own kid is doing.
And that is
this childhood obesity thing cracks me up too, because instead of parents taking responsibility for their own kids, we're going to make government make laws to somehow protect kids from becoming obese.
Could have sworn they outlawed like 2-liter bottles in New York.
Yeah, you can't get your 2-liter bottle with your pizza anymore. You can't get 2-liter bottles because Mayor Bloomberg and his health Nazis have decided that 2-liter bottles are dangerous.
How are they dangerous?
They're a fatty substance. They make people fat, apparently.
You know how a 2-liter bottle is dangerous? You put a little bit of water in it and some dry ice. Then you close it and toss it.
Completely different.
That's the only way a 2-liter bottle is dangerous. And that has malintent.
But see, that's the nanny state. That's the, we've got to protect you from yourself. It doesn't matter that you are a sovereign individual with rights over your body. Somehow you aren't allowed to enjoy your 2-liter soda. You aren't allowed to go get a big drink at the fast food stores or 7-Eleven for that matter. I mean, somehow we have to protect the people from themselves. This nanny state mentality doesn't work, and it's a detriment to free people everywhere.
It really is, because like, well, I want a 2-liter soda. And here's the thing. I don't drink soda every day. I don't need to be regulated of, I can't control my soda drinking or something like that.
How long before they tell me the size of a case of soda? Because I don't really like 2-liter bottles. I think they lose carbonation too quickly. But if I have a case, 24-pack or a 12-pack of soda, how long before they tell me that I can't have that many sodas at a time? And then they tell the store that you can't sell that many at a time, like somehow it's going to protect people, but you ruin like the party atmosphere. Why is it that they can dictate how much I can buy of something at a time?
They shouldn't be able to at all.
I see that in the future for even New York. New York is going to try and limit the amount that you can buy at a time.
It's ridiculous. Like, they should not have the authority to do that.
You would never expect them to be able to do that, but today in this government, this nanny state, this we have to protect people from everything, this is what you get. And this is inherent of big government. All right. You've been listening to The Third Perspective. I'm Rob, and
I'm Byron, the liberal libertarian.
Thank you and good night.